So at this point, I'd like to now hand over to our moderator. Hi to Haji Amirul Shahnoel bin Muhammad Noeh, the Capability Development in Country Value from Brunei Petroleum Company, Sindia and Berhad. Haji Amirul, are you ready and with us?
How are you, Jenny?
I'm great, thank you. I'll be handing over to you now to manage your speakers and the questions and the conversation. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Jenny. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to all our viewers, esteemed guest panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to another series of panel discussion focusing in deliberating on our bright future ahead. We have an exciting topic title, simply and aptly, The Future. And we have here our panelists this afternoon to further offer their insights and their perspectives on what the future holds for us. We have seen in the past few years an exponential increase in the rate of technological advancement and development, and the technological cycle getting shorter, which means that from ideation, inception, development through adoption have gotten shorter and shorter every time. And on top of this, as was mentioned earlier by Yang Berhormat Minister of Finance and Economy too this morning, as well as many of the other panelists earlier highlighted that in no doubt the impact of COVID-19 pandemic have indeed accelerated the adoption of these new technologies, be it in the digitization space, big data, artificial intelligence, and we have seen the application and the value it brings to society and humanity, from the use of AI in the genome sequencing for the COVID-19 vaccination, as well as the digital platform for contact tracing to those that have been affected, down to learning institutions and universities rolling out online, home, or remote learning. And for the masses, like ourselves, we have been working from home using MS Teams, Zoom, as what we are using it today. And since we will be talking about the future, this will be perhaps our new normal moving ahead. So in today's session, we'll like to explore future trends and ideas that we can take away, perhaps within the time frame of, say, the next 3 to 5 years or so. Because one can argue that longer than this, we may perhaps be crystal glazing because of the fast-moving pace of technologies that's going around us. So one may, again, hopefully better insights based on grounded realities rather than the later. So as well as talking about trends and ideas for the near future, the session hopes to offer a better understanding of the various facets and aspects of technology trends that sits as key enablers that these technologies ride on and remain a crucial element in bringing forth the adoption of these technologies to our society. So in short, technology itself is a tool and not an end in itself. So to do this, we have 5 esteemed guest panelists, very successful business leaders and as well as technological expertise in their own field and domains. So it is my great pleasure to introduce our panelists to you all. First, we have Dr. Shian Lee, CEO of Alphaswift Industry, Sdn Bhd from Malaysia. He earned a PhD in aerospace engineering, being one of the pioneers in control and automation application of UAVs. And in addition, he has worked on simulation mapping, multi-agent systems. That's code for swarming technologies for us. Yeah, and currently deeply involved in the development of electrical flights as a mode of transportation. That's very interesting, Dr. Lee. Second, we have Mr. Ming, CEO and founder of Tribe from Singapore, homegrown blockchain ecosystem builder. His company connects startups and talents to global opportunities, and it is supported by some world-leading companies such as IBM, Pfizer, Citigroup, BMW, AXA Group. Ming was recognized as Forbes 30 under 30 honorary in 2020, and he graduated from Imperial College, attended Harvard, Peking University, and a member of ASEAN. Our next esteemed panelist is Dr. Rassarin Chinnachodteeranun, the CEO and founder of Listen Fields of Thailand. She specialized in application of crop modeling technology and spectral vision to promote agricultural productivity. In short, perhaps it is smart and precision farming. She received his PhD in engineering from Chubu University, Nagoya, Japan. We have next Ms. Helena, CEO and founder of EcoV brand, with a mission to establish a local area of high quality ecological agriculture without the use of chemicals and create a social impact that brings to the next generation. It is thought through development of an ecological ecosystem from the onset, from the start of the R&D, right through the creating of employment, helping low-income farmers delivering high-quality products while protecting the environment. And finally, our esteemed guest, Dr. Sang Jung, CEO of Microsystems, Republic of Korea. His company is a technology-oriented enterprise that innovates through intelligent glass technology. The company have patented 27 international patents under their belt. Recently won many accolades and awards as the K Unicorn 200 Startup Selection, CES Innovation Awards, just to name a few. And Dr. Sang received his PhD from University of Pittsburgh, an exchange professor, Texas University, and a professor at Myongji University, Seoul. So there's quite a lot of information about our guest panelists here, with vast and spectrum of their own portfolios. However, if you missed some of it, you would like to know more, there's a link provided in the chat group that you can actually click on to find out more about their background. So let us start. We have quite a packed agenda here, and we would like to go through and able to pick our panelists' vast area of expertise, offer their insights, and perhaps let's start with the first subject. I think this question goes to Dr. Shanli and also Dr. Sangguk in the areas of technology development for the future. So perhaps stop short of looking into a crystal ball, yes? Perhaps you can share your perspective and insight on the future trends of technology development in your specialized domain, particularly those in the Industrial Revolution 4.0. What sort of technologies are we expecting to adopt or to develop in the next 3 to 5 years that can be a game changer? And perhaps how would this impact on how we do things in the new normal? So I'll pass this on to perhaps Dr. Shanli first, then Dr. Sangguk will continue thereafter. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Amirul. Yes, I'm deeply involved in the areas of automation. So for example, we build drones. So what drones are? They are vehicles, they are robots that can perform tasks on their own. We just give them a specific mission, and the drones will be able to perform it. They will follow the waypoints. They go from point A to point B by themselves without any human pilots. So I foresee a trend where in the future, robots will be able to help us on all sorts of productivity issues, like for example, picking tomatoes from a farm. You see that is going on in Europe. There are already some robots that can pick tomatoes. They have AI visual object recognition built in on the cameras that can recognize which is a ripe tomato, which is not ripe, and the robot will be able to distinguish and then to pick just the correct the right ones, you know. And so these kinds of automation will allow us as humans to upskill ourselves. So instead of working on laborers and dangerous in laborers or dangerous environments, we should be working on producing robots that can perform tasks like that for us. So I am an optimist. I always see the glass half full. And what I can foresee, right? Maybe not in the 3-5 years, but in perhaps 30 to 50 years, this will happen. What will happen is robots with generalized AI have already the capabilities to make decisions on their own. And they will know what humans, what we need, and they will help us to produce it. So the life starts on like this. You wake up in 8 in the morning, the robots have already taken care of your home, prepared breakfast for you. And since that everything has been done by the robots, yes, and well, provided that we have tapped into like for example, fusion energy sources, because all of this, the cost will come from energy. So let's just imagine that we have unlimited source of energy with some Dyson sphere of we've already tapped into fusion energy. Robots will have energy to help us to produce food, and that will keep us from going into laborious work. And we will be able to have the time to do creative work. So you wake up in the morning, food is already on the table, and it's very cheap. Why it's cheap? It's because robots are actually doing the planting, they're doing the farming, and the robots are handling the logistics. They move the food from the farms to right to your house. So they will prepare everything for you. So instead of $1 per apple, it can become, for example, a few cents, because a lot of things have been automated and the cost of energy should be sufficiently low that humans should not have any starvation anymore. It's all about the logistics and the distribution of energy. So that's what I see.
Well, yeah, it's a very interesting point that you raised. A couple of interesting points, actually. The role of robotics in the future and the interaction of robots between robots and humans. But one point that you did highlight very well is that we use robots to increase productivity, to actually augment the time spent by us to do other better things in life. So I think that will actually produce or uplift the standard of our living into the near future. So thank you for that. Dr. Sang, your perspectives, please. Dr. Sang, I think you're on mute at the moment. Let me see if we can actually do something about that. Technical team, you okay?
You can try that again.
Okay, yeah.
Can you hear my voice? Because I wasn't not allowed, so now looks fine. I'm working for the development of self-driving technology, which is unmanned vehicle technology. Autonomous driving, which is quite key, technology in, post-industrial revolution. then actually, if somebody asks us, do we really have autonomous driving technology now? Part of answer, yes, but we not really have a full capable function yet, because there is high limitation. Main reason is that for autonomous driving now, only it's possible, certain, weather condition. For example, in raining day, the autonomous driving is not really function well. The reason is quite simple. In raindrops, when the sensor covers surface, that limited the full functionality of the sensors. That's why we cannot really use, even we have a nice car with advanced sensor functionalities, but in rain days, it's not really working well. So often we saw the malfunction alarm from the car. Even autonomous technology has been used in the sea, oceans, autonomous ship. It also have the same issues. In ocean ship, even we have a lot of sensors, nice sensors installed in the ship, but it have to be working in the ocean condition, which means all the time around the cover surface of the sensor. At the time, maybe even more severe, because the raindrop not only is a pure water, it containing the salt. So if we cannot remove the the contaminants right away, it dry up and salt just remain on the surface. That hinder the full functionality of autonomous technologies. So currently, some company, actually most of the car manufacturer, also autonomous driving related to the company, they are really working hard to find a good way to go. One of a leading company like the Tesla, they rely on the camera module. Actually, they installed 8 cameras for their one car for the to pursue the autonomous driving. But many company, they currently available technology is like the heater, or they just want to use the small mechanical wiper. But if we're thinking the mechanical wiper, we already have 8 sensors, but to actuate the wiper, it requires the very bulky actuators. Actually, we cannot really install, actually camera module size is very small, but the actuator is much bigger than this camera module for the functionality. So it's not really, way to go. That's why the company tried to find a little different type of technology. So some company tried to develop the heating-based self-cleaning technology, but actually we already have it. Every car has a side mirror. In a rain day, how we can remove the raindrop on the surface, because in the back side of the side mirror, we have a thermal heater. But actually when you're driving in a rain day, even you turn on the a heater, it takes some time, 3 to 5 minutes, which means for the apply this technology to the autonomous driving is actually technically impossible, because removing speed is just so slow. So that's why now current car manufacturers, they are really eager to find the alternative technology for the self-cleaning.
So I think that's a very interesting perspective that you've highlighted. It's perhaps looking outside the box kind of approach, whereby people are, they're trying to develop new technologies by investing in what they know. But now you are saying that these technologies that's being developed actually using a different method. And is it right that you are probably using micro vibrations to actually make sure that the droplets does not stick to the surface of the screen, and that's very, very important, right?
Yes.
If you have 8 sensors that relies on microseconds of reaction time, you don't want any hindrance between what you see and what the computer can actually compute. So I think it's very interesting development there, Dr. Sang, that you've. Thank you for that. I will get back to you again on the next few questions. I'll probably like to move on to the next idea here. The future pathways between technology and policy. We've been hearing, early on the earlier discussion that the ecosystems, the building up of collaboration between institutions and government to government or businesses to businesses is something that is also need to be in step with the development of these new technologies that's coming out from the R&D. But I think let us first understand the trend of technology in the agricultural sector, and how can this new technologies help in the economic development and as well as to the society in general. And I'll offer this question back to Dr. Rassarin and Ms. Lina to probably respond. As you know, agriculture business or agri-food is one of the main GDP contribution for the region. And so where do you see agro-technology or agribusiness will go? Taking into account the various challenges that we've had with the pandemic, the disruption to the supply chain, both locally and regionally. And to add to this, right, the agenda of climate change, of sustainability and of ecologically friendly. Will we see there's a shift in adoption to these technologies anytime soon? Dr. Rassarin?
Yes, thank you very much for having me here in this important conference. As many of you know, farming is a risky and difficult undertaking due to the event-changing and unpredictable environmental conditions. Global warming has made things even more challenging for farmers. A recent IPCC report predicts that Southeast Asia region is the region that will be the most vulnerable to climate change. And in 2019 alone, Thailand lost around $500 million worth of our rice crop because of one of the worst droughts in country has experienced in many years. The coronavirus pandemic has only made the thing worse for our farmers. Business and travel restrictions has resulted in labor and equipment shortage. This means more unharvested crop. In addition, the recent sharp rise in fertilizer price add to production costs for many already struggled farmers. Despite the rise in price for some crops, such as natural rubber, it must be said that overall Thailand farmers have become poorer during the past several years. Here is like where we at Listenfield think that we play a meaningful role in shaping the better future for farmers, both in Thailand and in Southeast Asia region. So at Listenfield, we do precision farming or precision agriculture. As a first step, this means identifying the relevant data that needs to be correct with cost-effective technology in a meaningful manner. For example, data from satellite combined with multispectral vision can be useful when properly analyzed to determine the health of plants in real time, all at the fraction of the cost of conventional field surveys that are very labor and time intensive. And we are making a good progress in developing technologies that will help farmers to, for example, identify plots that may need more or less fertilizers. This also means accurately pinpointing the right time to harvest. Such precision means less cost in terms of human and other resources use. And in particular, we want to see less use of fertilizers that are expensive and can be harm to our environment, direct and indirect in terms of contributing to global warming. And in other words, we see a huge gap in utilizing of data for making the right decisions in farming. We have therefore developed a patented analytical platform that quantify multidimensional data from soil, climate, and phenology. More importantly, such analytical platform enhance farmer expertise and know-how at low cost. Properly installed, our agronomic analytics platform essentially makes the supply chain transparent and testable. Information will always be on hand for stakeholders regarding supply prediction, crop health, field performance, farmer performance, and productivity at the fields and regional level.
So, Doctor, it seems that what you are trying to achieve in your system is that it's a conflation of many technologies from satellite, from big data analytics and whatnot, and to conflate that together to produce something that is very meaningful to the agricultural sector to be more productive, and perhaps to predict where the areas that is much more needed attention, and I think that is perhaps one of the key point that in the future systems are not standalone. They are systems of systems in deep technology.
Right.
So I think you've raised a very important point there. So thank you, Dr. Rassarin, and we'll get back to you for the next question. So I'll give this to Ms. Lina. You're working on the ecological side of things, trying to make sure that we've not polluting our environment and whatnot. But how do you actually see this moving forward in the next few years?
Can you?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. When you are in the development of setting up technologies that is more ecologically sustainable, and how do you see that this will be moving to the next few years to expand?
Yes. Okay, I think now we are working in Vietnam, and Vietnam, there are farmer in Vietnam. There are many problems. For example, the area of farming is very small. Yes, we have the 9 million farmer. However, the farmer have a big farming, big area is very low, only 500%. So to apply the technology is very difficult. However, we think that in Vietnam we have some problem face to face with because we have too much farms, very small. So it's very difficult to make the product with the same stable quality. So our government really want to collect the farm and we make the big farm. However, we have face-to-face with many farmers want to keep their farm. So if we are using the technology to transfer the process, ecological farming process, to help for small farmer, they can follow the process. So we still keep small farming. However, we still open the same process with many farms, so we can have a good quality and the same quality with many farmer. Is like that. So I think in Vietnam, maybe many people talk about technology in agriculture too much. However, to care about ecological farming for technology for ecological farming is small now. However, many people now, many farmers now really want to follow the ecological, but they don't know how they can do it like that. So our solution, we can research and we can co-work with the scientists and technological in agriculture, in ecological agriculture, and we build some process, ecological farming process to transfer the farmer very easy manner. We have an application on mobile and we send message every day for farmers and talk with them. Today, what should they do? And tomorrow, what should they do? Or next week or next month, what should they do? And what should they prepare? And if you don't know how to do that, they can see on the video. We can see the method like that. So I think in the future, the small farmer in Vietnam will follow that. It's too much, I think so.
Yeah, again, very interesting perspective, Ms. Lina, because here we have the discussion from high-end technology on one side, drones and optical sensory, down to sustainable precision farming, and now ecological and sustainable farming. I think the general statement that we are hearing here is that each area of technologies is applicable to its context to actually solve whatever the solutions, the problem, sorry, that you are facing, and that works with the use and the leverage of technology by sharing information amongst the farmers down there. So I think that is also another perspective that we should not lose sight on whilst we are moonshooting to all the other higher end of the technological spectrum. So perhaps with all that, we've talked about a little bit of technology, talk about the impact of policies. Let's go to one of the perhaps crucial questions, which is the focus on human capital development, the future of works. As was mentioned earlier in one of the panelists, that human capital development is the under-optimized asset in moving forward. So, Mr. Ming, you have been deeply involved in the development of talents and building up ecosystems, yeah? And we've been listening to these various trends and development. Perhaps here's the golden question for you. What is the future of works? It's quite a big undertaking.
Yeah, wow, that's a big question for this discussion. But
I think to be fair to you on this is, how do we future-proof talents to ensure that the absorptive capacity of people and institutions are ready to adapt to this trend.
Yep. So basically, how we see technology moving forward is we see in the different stage of web, right? So you have web 1.0, where it was like peer-to-peer, where people are able to just receive information from a single source, right? Going there to extract information. Then you have web 2.0, where it's more like a hub and spoke model itself. And then you have web 3.0, where we talk about the decentralized web as we move forward. So that's where blockchain revolves around itself. So what happens here is it's that more and more things can be decentralized, right? Not saying that decentralized is the best method going forward. Not saying centralized is the best method, but what's the middle ground? A long time ago, people had this analogy. We had the intranet and the internet, right? Then we got onto the middle ground. So what we see as how this market moving forward is that a lot more things can be decentralized. I think from COVID itself, we've seen that teams can work anywhere in the world, right? If you have good technical talents, you say, hey, I can't find good technical talents in my market. Can someone sitting out of another country, another region, work for your company, right? COVID has shown that that's possible. Is that the best? That's still up to different teams and different companies' needs to assess. But can that be done? I think so, right? The world is getting smaller because of using like Zoom, right? Using Zoom, today we are all sitting in different countries, but we are able to do like good conversations and meeting with like pretty high quality stream. So as we have this sort of technological advancement with the use of new technologies like blockchain, like AI, I think there's a lot more possibilities. And because of that whole decentralized movement, the future of work will be something that to me will be more task-based, right? So today itself, like many of us, though we are sitting here doing a panel, but we have our day jobs, we are doing things at the site, we are doing things at night, we are doing things with different people, working on different projects itself. So I think the nature of work has changed from like, oh, you need to sit at an office from like 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. all the way to, oh, we can just do different tasks. Yeah. Right? Can the gig economy flourish because of this? We think that's highly possible. We think that today, if we can break a lot more things that we do on an entity level into different tasks, we can ship to different developers, right? To build certain products itself from all around the world. If some guy in Eastern Europe is great, yeah, he can build the product for us. We don't need him to be a full-time employee of the company. So of course, I think this is where I'll start, right? As the potential possibilities of the market itself going forward.
Yeah, and that chums very well with the trying to predict the future and trying to tag along the skills and competence that comes along with that. It is a challenge, and you're rightly pointing that we need to be universal in our approach, to be flexible in reskilling the current workforce. So yeah, thank you for that insight, Ming. I'm very conscious about the time. We have just about a few more minutes to go, and I think we'll probably like to tackle the big question in the room, right? The hot trending question, the big elephant. Here's the thing, right? The conflation of technology between reality and virtual world, and the use of non-fungible tokens, NTFs, to acquire even virtual properties now is already here to stay. And we've seen virtual properties that are selling for $3,000 US for property in New York, but that's not a real thing. It's in the space. And we've also seen reality music events. Travis Scott had that virtual event that drew about 12 million viewers, and it's not even him himself; it's just his avatar. So the question here is that with the recent announcement of the metaverse by Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, and follow up soon with Microsoft thereafter, it seems this is the next big thing. that's gonna make that big step moving forward. So how do you see this will change or perhaps even revolutionize the technological landscape? And more importantly, how do we take it? How do we take this opportunity moving ahead? I see Dr. Shanli was smiling away. If you can have just a quick few minutes thoughts on what do you think, and I'll pass this to probably Dr. Sang and closed by Dr. Ming. Yiming. Okay, Dr. Lee.
Have you played online games, MMORPGs like WoW? You know that people sell weapons and people sell their avatars and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that's going on here, right? You see that people are selling NFTs and then they get quite pissed off if you copy paste their images and all that. I don't know. To me, it looks like a bubble. It's not real life. But I don't know, man, because it may be a financial speculation. Just have fun, but it's not real. You know, like people are now trading properties in the metaverse for up to 22 million per plot, and then I don't know. I think we have more concerning issues to solve. If I agree with Dr. Rassarin that about climate change, we should focus our efforts on those kind of things.
Yep.
More, yeah. That's what I think. It looks like wow to me,
Yeah. So that again a very important point. Yeah, grounded on grounded realities. And this could be a fad, or this could be something that could make a step change in the way we do things. So Dr. Sang, any perspectives from you?
Recently, I have experience for the metaverse. Actually, I present my IR presentation through the metaverse environment. It was a really funny and was quite good experience to me. So many people say that human being can go to the space or in metaverse. So I'm not really expert the area, but I think that has a really huge chance in future. But actually today I would like to stress about the cybersecurity.
Yes,
that is really one of a big matter. Personally, I also working for that. Then why we do not really have one of the biggest reason for the cyber security issue, because of most of the camera we are now using in daily life doesn't have the cover. It always often. So then why we don't have the cover? Because everyone wants to have a small camera, but it doesn't have a really space for the install the cover, mechanical or physical cover. So I knew some company working for that now, but definitely I believe personal information, also not only personal life, also the company, we definitely need some advanced technology to solve this issue. So
Good. Quickly to Yiming, sorry.
So I guess I think it's an interesting concept that has been brought up over the last couple of years. Technologies is ready for us to support that. A few years back, we were talking about VR and AR. That's part of what Metaverse needs. We were talking about blockchain, which is important. We were talking about 5G, which is also highly important within this ecosystem. And last but not least, also the ability of cryptocurrencies and NFTs, right? If you say 20 years ago, when we were still using maybe Nokia phones, or maybe the internet first came out 20 plus years ago, no one would imagine us using a phone and everything we can do, it's on our phone. Today, we have already moved into the digital age, right? Think about 10 years later, right? Things are moving even faster. This world, I mean, not saying everything physical will turn into the metaverse. I don't think that's the case, but I think there's a lot more possibilities. And I think going back to the talent piece itself that you mentioned, I think talents must be ready because the future of work is very different. Long time ago, it's tough for maybe designers and artists to make money, but now it's a different world, right? True. So I mean, giving different industry the possibilities of growing better from an income perspective, from a social standard perspective, I think that's important.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So I'll just give a few seconds each of one of you here in the panelists. What do you think is the most important technology trends that you think that will be adopted in the next 3 to 5 years? Dr. Lee, quick one. One word.
For me personally, it will be the transformation of aviation towards sustainable aviation, because right now we're still traveling on jet fuel, Jet A1 specifically. So aviation is a big contribution to climate change, and then I am working towards solving that problem. So battery-powered flights, hydrogen fuel cells. So these are the kind of things that we in Alphaswift is looking on.
No,
and this is a tough challenge.
Yeah,
and then we need to solve this.
Yeah, applause to you for that effort, and we look forward to see the outcome. Yeah,
thank you,
Dr. Rassarin, one word.
Yes, I'm a big fan of the reality. So I think that the technology that brings sustainability, prosperity to farmers as a food producer, technology that also economize all resources used, help to solve world problem in food, is the big thing in technology that we should be focusing on and really make it scale and contribute to our society.
Okay, good. Miss Lina.
Yes, I have one thing. I think that with farmer, technology is very difficult. However, I believe technology will help farmer can solve their problem. Yes.
Okay, Dr. Sun.
Autonomous driving.
Okay,
technology.
Good.
That's it.
And finally, Ming.
Yep. Community-driven economy.
That's good. Okay, thank you very much, panelists. I think that you've gained very different insight, different perspective from different backgrounds, which is quite informative, because technology itself is not standalone. I think the future trends of technology can be a systems of systems, of deep tech technologies, and I think the bottom line is that the convergence of, say, the optical sensory from Dr. Sung will be able to better capture big data for the artificial intelligence that predicts the best approach for precision agriculture, right? And to be able to produce the highest yield, at the same time reducing our carbon footprint for creating an ecosystem of technology based on sustainable and ecological friendly farming, right? So I think everything can actually work together if we are really put our focus to that. So on a final note, I think this takes us to the owners, the adopters, the sponsors, and the user of these technologies to be able to work closely, to collaborate together, to create opportunities for a better, sustainable future for us all and for the generations to come. The future is bright, but the future starts with us. Thank you, Dr. Sanguk, Dr. Rassarin, Ms. Lina, Ming, Dr. Shian, for your time, and as well as participating in this panel. Till we will meet again, stay safe. Signing out. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Over to you, Jenny.